I know you talked about like fats with oils, but how do you feel about healthy fats like avocados and nuts?
Yeah, so thanks for that question because I didn't do a great job explaining. So I think avocados and nuts are good as long as they're not the main course. So it's a question of dose. So when it comes to nuts, 1 ounce, a handful of nuts. Now, there are some people, or there might be some nuts that you may be addicted to. So let's say you're addicted to cashews, and you know that if you have a big bag of cashews in the nut in the house, that's going to go really quickly. Then unfortunately, you can't have cashews at home because I want you to stick to that 1 ounce. The same thing with avocado. If you look at the serving size of an avocado, it's an eighth or a quarter of an avocado. That should be what it is. It's not your main course. It's used as a flavor enhancer. So, and you can get frozen avocado chunks, organic. So again, it's a question of dose. So thank you for that question.
Okay, next we have Ruth. Ruth, please ask Dr. Helman your question.
Hi, doctor. This is really fascinating listening to this lecture. I'm in Canada. I just want to know if there's anybody I'm on the east side in Toronto. Is there anyone here who could do your kind of work, testing, etc.?
I think there is. I was actually a speaker up in Toronto a few years ago at their Veg Fest, which I think is the largest in North America. It was amazing. It was like 4 days. And at that time, I ran into many physicians, including naturopaths. So there's no name that comes up, but I can tell you I've run into colleagues up there. So yes, I would keep looking. And in some ways, I found the Canadians farther ahead in some of this information than Americans, but in both places, this is highly politicized. And but yeah, that's the best I can do right now.
Okay, next we have Bin. Bin, I'm going to mute you. Please ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Give me time to ask the question. I got one very basic questions. How soon it is for the body to rebuild building the fat after eat the sugar or another high fatty food? How soon? You said it's first place is in the muscle, then second is liver, then it's pancreas. So what's the timeline?
Yeah, so the timeline is going to be different for different people depending on how much fat or fatty things they're eating and also exercise. So if you're eating a lot of calories in fat, but you're also, an ultra athlete, you might be burning some of that. So it's different. And that's the amazing thing. Let's just talk for a second about the liver. You can actually, with the fat deposition and the toxin damage in the liver, you can destroy 90 to 95% of your liver and it will grow back. But after that 95%, it's probably not going to grow back and you'll need a transplant. But from the studies I've seen, the deposition to, first in the muscle and then to the liver and then to the pancreas, that normally happens over years. And if you look at the fatty deposition in people, that's over years. So we know now from autopsy studies that the fat deposition starts in even in 6-year-olds, 10-year-olds, we're starting to see fatty plaques that early. So this process goes on throughout your whole life. But the exciting thing is, if you change your lifestyle, if you change your diet, start exercising, these changes can reverse within, the studies of Dr. McDougall published, within a week. So that's the exciting thing. You may have abused your body metabolically for 2, 3, 4, 5 decades. But if you start doing the right thing, we see improvement in blood pressure if it's abnormal, or insulin resistance. we see improvements within 1 week. So that's the exciting thing. Your body is always watching. So, yeah, thanks for that question.
Thank you very much.
Okay, any more questions? If you guys want, you could raise your hand at the bottom on the reactions tab. If we have any left, let's see. Looks like that's it. All right. Dr. Helman, thank you again for, some are coming up. Hold on 1 second. All right. All right, Steve, please ask your question.
Yes. I wanted to ask you, do you recommend people eat a raw food diet, such as the one that they serve at Hippocrates? In other words, when I've tried eating a raw food diet, I feel like to make myself satiated, I end up using lots and lots of olives, lots of avocados, lots of nuts and seeds. So to eat sunflower sprouts and clover sprouts and onion sprouts, the only way I could do it is to get filled with so much fat that I then wonder, am I actually eating a healthy diet? And when I don't add a lot of fat and I just have 2 giant bowls at lunch and dinner of all kinds of sprouts, I feel like I'm being incredibly healthy, but I don't feel satiated and full. And I'm wondering from your experience, what you would say about that.
Yeah. So Steve, the first thing I would say is, have you tried making smoothies out of sprouts, fruits, and vegetables? Because I'm a big fan of a raw diet, and I saw many cases of literally every week I would see at Hippocrates chronic diseases go away with a raw food diet. So I'm curious, did you ever try making smoothies?
Well, based on the advice of Brian Clement and Gabriel Cousins that sugar feeds yeast, mold, fungus, and cancers, I've tried to avoid fruit and especially smoothies because that was concentrating the fruit. So based on Brian's constant saying that fruit feeds bacteria and mold and fungus and all that, I've wanted to avoid fruit, and so I haven't been doing that.
Yeah. So one thing I would try is, let's say when you make a smoothie, put 70% of the greens and only 30% of the fruit, whole fruit, just to be clarified. So I agree with them that you don't want to overdose on the sugar side, but you can blend it, whether it's 30% or 20% to taste. And I find that's one way for me, I can get more raw food in, is just to blend it. And is that processed? It sure is processed, but it's better than, I think, the alternative, which would be eating, highly processed food.
What about
Go ahead.
And what about lots of fat, like just using lots of olives, lots of nuts and seeds, and lots of avocados every day to get full?
No, I would not recommend that. So instead of that, I'm a fan of using beans, which I know they are not necessarily fans of. But you raise a good point. Is, look, you've got you need to have some calorie density in order to feel satiated. And yes, if you're on a raw diet, you are probably going to have to eat more frequently than otherwise, with a more calorie dense food. But I think that's a compromise you'll have to make. And you're not the only one. I saw many patients there who were like, I need more calories. And to me, at least from the data I've seen around the world, the healthy societies diet wise are the ones that are eating beans. I would not be afraid of beans. You want to soak them, but and you want to cook them. So I guess technically it's not raw, but I'm a fan of beans too. And unless you're trying to reverse a specific disease, I think there's a place for both raw food and cooked food. But I've seen people have more energy. It's kind of ironic, more energy with the raw food.